Today I want to talk about environment, and I want to talk about how it can directly affect who you are as a person and directly affect how you go into the world and how you live your life and how you be yourself. Because sometimes our environments don't allow us to be our full self. And while I do think that we can heal on the inside, regardless of where we are, I don't think that we always have the space to be who we are and express that on the outside. We don't really have that space to kind of express everything we have on the inside, which can really, it can really make you feel so worthless. And sometimes it can make you feel like you don't know yourself and like you have nothing and like you are nothing. But realistically, your environment is kind of just pushing you to feel that way. And I'm not saying that you should use your environment as a reason to not grow, and you should use your environment as a reason to kind of feel above everybody and just say, yeah, well, I'm this because of my environment. What I'm saying is that if you get to the point where you've been doing all this inner work and you've been healing and you've been doing this and doing that and working on yourself, and you get to this point that feels just like a standstill, and you're trying to figure out, what else within yourself you can heal, because you feel like there's still that one little thing and you feel like you have to get right on it in order to get to the next chapter. The problem with that is that if you genuinely feel like you are, if you feel like you're kind of keeping up with yourself in that way and really taking care of yourself the best you can in whatever environment you're in, and you're really trying to heal who you are on the inside, regardless of the environments that you have experienced, then it's okay to look around. It's okay to look outside of yourself. And I'm not comparing this to materialism whatsoever. I'm saying that if you're having a hard time and you're looking around and you're like, well, this isn't exactly what I want it to be, and this would help if it was that way, and it would really benefit, my mental if this was the other way, and all these little things. It's okay to look around and say, I'm not where I need to be to grow to my fullest self. Because that honesty in itself is so freeing. And when you can actually really hold that truth and you can observe it and you can really hold that close to yourself and say, this is mine, like, regardless of what people take away from me, this is mine. And I can have that because I say so, because I say I can have that, and that's why it's mine. So regardless of what other people say and whatever environment you're in, and this kind of, is touching very closely to the ending of my last video, which was referring to the physical abuse and the mental abuse. So when you're holding this thing and you're saying, this is mine and you can't take it away from me, and I feel this way regardless of what you're telling me, it's so beneficial to your journey if this is what you're struggling with. And it really, kind of helps you see what you've been dealing with this whole time. And not only that, but it helps you say, wow, I really have dealt with so much, and I kept going through it because I knew that there was more. And there is, if you're still struggling. And I think it's just one of those seasons of struggle right now. But if you're experiencing that, just know that there is more, and life is not meant for struggle. And I know up to this point, maybe your life has generally kind of been struggle, but that doesn't mean that that's all there is. Because for me personally, there was that part of me that wanted to know that struggle in order to kind of incorporate that into my future, in order to understand things at a deeper level. So, say somebody I love in my future is struggling with this or that, I can say, I can actually relate to it, and not only relate to it, but I know how to kind of be there. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to be there for this person because I felt that. And when I don't, I know how to be sympathetic. So that's the thing. That's really important to me because I wouldn't really want to be with somebody who didn't want to sympathize or empathize with me when I was having a hard time. So, it's really that give and take kind of perspective, and the relationship has to go both ways. So this is directly relating to, where my other point was. So when you have people in your life that are not giving and taking, and you feel like all they do is take most of the time, and then 75% of the time they're taking. And that 25% of the time they may be giving because they want a good reason to feel okay about taking from you. And that's what I've experienced in my life, is that 9 times out of 10 times out of 10 up to this point in my life, having the people that I've had in my life, they gave to me in order to take from me. And that is not the same thing as give and take, so don't get it twisted. Abuse is abuse, period. Point blank. Because people will try to convince you otherwise. Don't go asking around. Like, that's the thing, because I think, especially women, and I know, like, men too, but especially women when it comes to the physical abuse, they should really have a place to go and somebody to talk to about that, and we just generally don't. So, say you talk to one of your friends, or you talk to a coworker, or you talk to even your boss if you're close like that. They don't always know what to tell you, and that in itself hurts. Even sometimes if you just have somebody to listen, like, that's cool too. But if you have somebody that just doesn't want to listen and doesn't care, in my life, I've found that, more masculine energies have not wanted to listen to my woman problems, such as even walking down the street in a nice dress and being stared at and being gawked at and being, people wanting to poke and pry, like, that in itself infuriates me. And I want to swing. I want to swing when it gets to that point. And I know that I'm supposed to be a lady. So, like, it's contradicting itself, because I'm literally wearing this dress and I want to feel nice about myself, and I want to feel like a woman right now, because I've spent my whole life getting that taken away from me, because dudes... Oh, it really makes me so angry, because dudes don't know how to control themselves. So how come we're taught to be ladylike, and we're taught to carry ourselves properly, and we're taught, don't swing, don't do this, don't fight, that's not ladylike. But a guy is never taught, don't treat women like trash. They're never taught that. And that in itself is a huge flaw of societal standards, I believe. And I think many people believe the same thing, and I think that is something that needs to be worked on in itself. And the fact that we've gone so long with, and I can't even say men, because they're not men. They're boys. They're boys in men's clothing. So, for them to have come this far and be taught that it's okay to treat women that way is absolutely disgusting. And it's such a... It's hugely contributing to, a big reason why our society is going to be its own downfall. Because even with women too, like, we're just basically being taught that being a shitty person is going to excel you in life. And I can't tell you how many times, like, I truly have lost track, of how many guys I've seen in marriages, and they'll just completely off-put their wife in order to, like, flirt with me right in front of them, or stare at me, or let me walk in front of them, so that like, girl, I know that I'm fine, you don't have to like, I'm just sick of old men thinking that they can have me. Like, that's what really bothers me. And that's the problem, because I think that I'm getting a little off topic because this topic seriously enrages me, but I think that people in general should be taught that if you take care of yourself, then maybe you can maintain a relationship with somebody who also takes care of themselves, and vice versa as well. So if you don't take care of yourself and you treat your wife like shit, then no, you can't have me. If you're 80 years old and you're just looking for, like, somebody to stare at that's wearing a nice dress, then you're shameful. And I'm ashamed of you, and I feel embarrassed for you, and you don't even deserve that energy from me. So you're lucky. But okay, anyway, centering, focusing. So basically, I think that if, and I said this in my last video too, if you're doing everything that you need to be doing for yourself in order to excel your mental state and your spirituality and even your physical environment, regardless of if it's catching up with you or not, sometimes our environments are so toxic that it will take years for your positivity to, come to fruition within your environment. And one of my biggest issues is, being in a tough environment, regardless of where it is, and saying, I can get out of here. Saying, I can completely change this around, and saying, I can completely, kind of manifest a more beautiful and reciprocative environment. So I think that, I've said 1,000 times, it all just comes back to how you view your life. But when you're viewing your life with honesty and truth, like, it's truly not about just saying, oh, like, my life is great, and I can do anything, and I'm great, and I'm beautiful. And while that has a huge part of it, it does, it's also about saying, okay, I'm not happy in this situation, I don't want that, I want to change this, and really being able to sit with that. Because if you're kind of like, going back and forth with it, and, kind of imbalanced about what you really want and what you deserve and how you view it, how you view a negative situation, and saying, it's okay, it'll change soon. Saying, okay, that sucks, and I need change from that. Because otherwise, I can't be my full self until I see this change. Truthfully. Being able to sit with that in itself is generally just difficult, because I know that it takes bravery. Genuinely. It takes bravery to be able to say, some people in my life have been abusive, and some environments have hurt me, and that is on these people that are abusive. And while I don't necessarily agree with the idea of being a victim, I think that it is genuinely important to say, I'm not me here, So being able to hold that truth, as I've said, because I don't know what it is, but that sentence in itself is seriously resonating with me. Just holding that truth to your heart, and understanding that it's gonna be difficult. I mean, especially when you may have gone so long in your life saying, no, everything's gonna be okay, and I'm gonna be okay, but you're not looking at the nitty-gritty. You're not looking at the fact, okay, well, they're treating me like trash, and this person is saying that about me, and while it doesn't matter what people say, like, if they're somebody that you love, or if they're your family, or if they're your friends, like, and they make you feel bad about yourself, first of all, they're not your friends. And for a while, I have considered my family my friends, but it has gotten to the point where, I'm more aware of what's going on around me, and unfortunately, I did kind of have to, be honest about that in itself. And I hate talking about, my very personal stuff, but I want people out there to know that if you are feeling like somebody that you love is hurting you, then you genuinely have to be honest about it, regardless of if they're telling you, I love you so much, or regardless of the fact if they say, well, other people have it worse, and, because I've heard that too, and, well, that is immensely true, immensely true. I need to acknowledge the fact that I don't always have it great. And I need to acknowledge the fact that, I'm not always happy, and it doesn't have to be this way. Truthfully, it doesn't have to be this way. So why am I going to encourage an environment that doesn't have to be negative, if I know that I belong in a positive environment? And that's for anybody that feels that way. Because, positive environments are not solely restricted to people who are self-aware. That is for everybody who deserves it. And that is for everybody who earns it. But what genuinely pulls it in close to you and attracts it to you is when you are self-aware of it. And you can say, I am miserable and I deserve more. And I have given so much of my soul just to see other people smile. And I can say that, and I can genuinely know within myself that I'm a good person. So why do I need to be somewhere that makes me feel so opposite of that? And I don't always like to talk about stuff like this because I know that it can be kind of a bummer and it can be a drag. However, it is what it is. And if you're feeling like you're being absolutely minimized in your life, then say it. Like, you don't necessarily have to tell people that, but talk to yourself. Talk to yourself about it. Because it's not always about saying, oh, well, I don't try to bond with this person all the time, and I'm not trying hard enough, and I'm not doing this, and my mental isn't where it could be. Girl, let me tell you something right now. And that girl was gender neutral. So, if you are in an environment and you keep going through this cycle of, I'm not happy, and it's probably my fault, because I'm not where I should be mentally and career-wise and financial-wise and, even relationship-wise. That's the cycle. That in itself is the reason why you have a hard time getting up every morning. So, when you can be honest about that pain, and you can be honest about, well, I don't have everything, but why is that? I don't have everything I want or everything I need, but why is that? Because you work for it, you earn it, when, even if you don't have a job, like, if you're doing your shadow work, that's a whole nother job that people don't see. And I'm so heavy on that because I've lived it and I'm currently living it. And I understand money is important. I do get it. However, so is my mentality. So is my mental health. And if I can't focus, I'm not going to do my job. I'm not going to be able to do my... And I want to. And that's the hard part, because I want to so bad. I want to be able to have, a job that I can go to every day and focus. But I can't focus. And it's so hard. And people don't see that. If they're not on the same path as you, they don't see that. So you have to be able to kind of decipher that. And you have to be able to decipher, who is on the same journey as you. And if they are not on the same journey, be like, man, I get what you're feeling, but, it's just not enough for me. It's not enough for me. You know, if people make you feel horrible because you don't have anything, they're essentially kicking you when you're down, and that is not love. That is abusive. So, to be able to, you know, hold that and say, regardless, to say regardless of where I am and regardless of who I'm around, I'm still gonna fight for myself. And if that means, you know, not being financially stable, then okay. If that means sacrificing so many things I own, then okay. If that means losing so many friends I've had, then alright. Keep it coming, like, let's go. I can't. Like, it's really about the rejection, and it's about being able to hold that rejection and say, alright, I get it. Like, there's probably something better. Honestly, like, because think about it like this. If you were in a relationship with somebody that you were in 5 years ago, still, and like, you know, if that is the case, then good for you. Like, if it's healthy and it's a positive give and take relationship, good for you, keep it going. But if it's something that genuinely, like, is affecting you negatively, and you don't want to grow above this person because you know that they would probably bring you back down, and vice versa. Sometimes that's just how that works. But imagine that you are still with that person today, and you had to think of, you know, the hypothetical, like, oh, well, I have to settle for this because it's just what I happen to have. It's not, oh, like, I'm genuinely happy in this relationship, and I can see, like, building something with this person in my future. That's what a relationship is. It's not about saying, I can deal with it. So, like, I mean, it's almost the same as environments in a way, because if you think of, like, okay, your childhood bedroom, and if you're still there, like, that's unfortunate, but it's not forever. It's a temporary thing. It's most likely to show you what you don't deserve. Okay. So, you know, if you were still in your childhood bedroom and you were saying, I'm good with this. I am fine with this, and I can live with this, and I can deal with that. Girl, you can deal with that, but do you want to? Like, is that really what you, like? This is life, baby. Like, this is all about manifestation, loving yourself, you know, being the stepping stone for others at times, and being your own stepping stone, and showing yourself love, and, you know, pulling magic towards you. That's what this is about. So are you really just gonna sit here and say, I'm good with this childhood bedroom and this childhood relationship and this childhood perspective for the rest of my life because I can survive it and I can deal with it and it's not horrible? Okay, it's probably not horrible, but is it great? Is it so good for you that you just want to keep it going? You know, your life should be something that you're saying, I'm really grateful for this. And, like, I don't even want to think about, you know, death. And I don't want to think about leaving this. And I want this forever. And I want this and that. And I want to keep it going. And I cannot picture myself without this experience and this feeling. And truthfully, feeling like I've always had it anyway. And it's just something that you know when you know. And if you're in a relationship, that's the other thing, and you're questioning, maybe this is, like, is this the one that's not love either. Like, okay, maybe you like them, but do you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody that you like? That's cute. That's so cute. That's like elementary relationship. That's cute. And I just don't think that's what it's about, is what I'm trying to say. And with that, I don't think that, your environment is all that there is. And your environment is, a means to an end, basically. I think that it's a means to a beginning. And I think that as soon as you start to be able to stand in your own power and say, I need more, I need more, I need more, I need more, and just keep reaffirming that to yourself. Because as soon as you can keep doing that, then like, this is my truth. And nobody can sway me from that, because I have lived through so much darkness that I know what light is. Because I had to be light. I had to be it. So I know it. And to be able to, say that much is just, it's an honor, is what it really is. It's an honor to be able to say, okay, if the world is against me, I know my truth. And I will also say that watching videos like this has been a really big part of my growth, but I'm also aware of the fact that it's not going to, give me what I'm looking for. What I am looking for is something within myself that nobody can, give to me, and nobody can tell me how to get it. And like, people can train me, and I can learn, and I can be the student, but I cannot be given it. It's something that I just have to live. I have to experience. I have to get that experience for. It's kind of like, living vicariously through technology and through your Wi-Fi, and then realizing, oh my gosh, like, it's been a whole day and I haven't been outside. That is where your life is. And that is where you're going to genuinely learn things. And that is where, you're going to learn the most important things. Because it happens so fast sometimes that sometimes it's one of those things you got to look back at and say, oh my gosh, that was that, and that was that, and I connected the dots on that, and it makes a lot of sense, and that's a whole lesson. So, if you're sitting there and you're trying to learn everything that there is to learn about yourself through other people, you're just not gonna get that. And you're not gonna be able to experience kind of that dopamine release when you truthfully find something about yourself that you have been looking for so long. And for me, that is, looking around and being aware, and looking around and I guess being aware of when I don't belong. Because I hear people say that all the time, well, I don't belong here. I don't know, because I've seen people say that and been absolutely miserable and treating their kids horribly and treating themselves horribly, and their relationships are never what they seem. And to not belong somewhere is something you have to know in your heart. To not belong somewhere is something that you have to feel in your bones, truthfully. And if you don't have that feeling, then you're probably content there, or you're okay with being content. And as soon as you say, I want more, then it starts to get a little bit easier, because you can hold that. You can hold that truth. Because I know the world tends to be against people that want better for themselves, because the world tends to be people that don't know how to get it. And it's fine to not know how to get it. But some just don't care to get up to go get it. And that's the problem. Because it's okay if if you get up to go get it, and it doesn't work out. Like, say you're looking to go get this new job, and you're looking to go get this new car. Or if you're just going out to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, like, first of all, don't do that. But if you're going out to go experience a specific thing, then you're not gonna find it. And if you don't get that job, that's okay. It's probably for a reason. And there's been so many jobs that I pictured myself getting and not being happy. Just not being myself at all. And then I didn't get them. So there's probably a good reason. And I've also realized that when I want something and I say it's gonna be this way and it's gonna be great and it's gonna work itself out, I've realized that people around me tend to tell me, well, it's probably not gonna go the way you think it is. Girl, I know, but it's nice to put that energy in. Put that positive energy in. And if it doesn't work out, that positive energy will, automatically default into going into something else. I still put that positive energy into the universe, and I'm going to get it back. Regardless of how I get it back, I will. Because I earned it. And because I care. I truthfully care about the universe, and I truthfully care if the universe is in itself experiencing goodness. So I know deep down in my heart the universe wants me to experience that as well, because the universe and I have that give and take. I'm still learning things, and I'm still learning kind of how to give to the universe in a way, but overall I'm getting it down pretty good. And I guess I'm just not afraid because I know what I want for the universe. Therefore, why would the universe want anything other than the same thing for me? It's the law of attraction. And I've said that before too. And I couldn't be more resonant with that in itself, because it truthfully is. I mean, and here we go again, because it's truthfully whatever you give. It is what you give. And I myself, I've been giving for years. I really have. And I gave when I couldn't give. And there have been times, I'm getting better about that last part. If I can't give, like I say, like, I'm probably not meant to give to this person if I can't give right now. Because if this person really needed it, if this person genuinely, like, earned it and wasn't going to, like, I don't know, kind of be. There's some people that will take from you in order to keep taking from you. So I guess entitled about it. Is what I'm kind of